What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the RPO College Football Podcast, your favorite college football podcast. I'm your host, you know me, Jerome, aka Go Blue, Mr. Jones, and I got my the myth, the legend. You already know who he is, Mr. Ray Roberts. How you doing, sir?
I'm good, Jerome. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Feeling good. We're number two right now. Feeling good. Feeling good. We're gonna get into my team in a second, but hey, man, how you feeling right now?
About college football.
In general, I mean, in general, man. I want
um,
to, man.
Up in the air, man. Like I keep hearing people tell me how important this bowl game is for Notre Dame, but I'm not feeling it, to be honest with you.
I feel like it's semi-important because of the recruiting. I mean, I didn't have the greatest year. I feel like if y'all end it well, you won't lose a lot of people. There's a lot of people going into that transfer portal right now. There's over 1,000 people in that transfer portal right now. So you don't want to be that team to lose players in signing day and that kind of thing. So I understand that. I think we all had a lot of high expectations for your team coming into the season and it didn't. Y'all didn't really live up to it, but y'all ended very strong, which I think is always a great thing for any team because it's not about how you were really. It's really about relevancy, how you looked at the end. So I think you guys are good to go, but I think a bowl game win will help you guys, honestly.
South Carolina, man. What does it mean? You beat
Just tell
South
me.
Carolina. I mean, like, no, I get if they don't beat a kind of a middle of the pack SEC team, it will look bad on them. I got that part.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as this season, it means nothing for me. So,
I understand that. I understand that as a fan, you always kind of want your team to be in the playoffs, or at least compete to get in the playoffs. So I totally understand what you mean, man. I've been going through it outside of the last few years. I've been going through it almost every other year, So I totally understand.
I knew this was going to be a rebuilding type year.
Hmm.
New coach,
Yeah,
some new coaches, new recruits, this, that. I get that part. I just don't, I feel like a little like the season was too up and down for me. No consistency.
definitely. No, I understand that. Understand that. And I get your point, man. Well, let's get into our topics, guys. And before we get on, as you guys already know, this is a interactive podcast. So if you are in a chat, we got a couple people already watching. So appreciate everybody that is watching. If you want to put something in the chat room, definitely put something in the chat room. Put it on the screen. We'll answer it for you. Any questions about any games, any bowl games about your team for next season or something like that, let us know. Maybe your team's in the playoffs. Let us know. Interact with us. Interact with us. So, as you guys probably already noticed, we've been away for a week. I had some important things I had to take care of last week, so we wasn't able to talk about the last games of the season, and we wasn't able to talk about the or preview last week's games. So we're gonna do a small little recap real quick. Nothing crazy, nothing crazy. Real quick, if you guys been living under a rock, let's talk about some of those games. So first game we're gonna talk. Let's talk about my team because I want to dive into it anyway. We're gonna go dive into it. I got new Michigan merch. You already know, number two team in the nation took over Ohio State that game. Um, Watched the entire game, every second of it. Did not miss a second. Ray, I want to get your take of the game first before I get into it. What did you take of Michigan not only just going there into their house, but whooping up on them? Because they really did just whoop up on them.
More physical team won the game, basically.
Yeah, man. I was very concerned at some points of the game, especially in the first half. I wasn't nervous to the fact that I'm thinking that we was gonna lose because it was a very close game at halftime. I honestly did not expect us to run away with the game like we did. I think that in the beginning, most of our touchdowns came from some explosive plays, two very explosive plays. It wasn't like we were just driving down the field and looking good. Blake Corum got injured in the game. He was already injured, but he got injured even more. Didn't finish the game. is now out for the season. Won't be playing again. Wondering if he's gonna play for Michigan again. I think he has one more year left, but we'll see how that goes. We'll decide on that. Um, we had Donovan Edwards. Ray, you already know how I felt about him going into the season. I thought he was going to be one of the dark horse running backs, but the man had a cast on his dominant hand as a runner. That's very difficult. So I was very, very nervous. I'm like, man, they're gonna cause a turnover. This and that. But you can't do nothing off of to off outside of explosive plays. Um, JJ McCaffrey didn't look that great in the beginning of the game. I was very nervous. I'm not gonna lie. I was very, very nervous. I was very pleased by the defense because they was doing a lot of bend but don't break defense, and then giving Ohio State just field goals after field goals. They got one touchdown in the first drive, and then the one that tied the game. I mean, Michigan scored very fast, and then they got the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. on that ridiculous catch, and ridiculous catch and throw. That was insane. I'll say that as a Michigan fan, that was an impressive throw and catch. But afterwards, man, we just ran the ball. I was just like, whoa, how are we able to do this? We got some explosive plays. The scheming was very well done. Like you said, Ray was more dominant in the trenches. And you always say this, Ray. You got to dominate in the trenches. I was very, very pleased to see the results of the game. I was not expecting us to run away with it, especially with Donovan Edwards-Jones busting out those two long runs in the game to really seal the game with a broken thumb.
Yeah, I mean, well, he had the two biggest runs of the game. I mean, you can't have to worry about a guy getting fumbled if no one touches him. So,
It's true. Sure, man. It was very shaky in the beginning too, because like you could tell he was trying to fill it out, and he would get the handoff, but then he had to switch his hand to the left hand, and it was very interesting to see him do that. Chris, what's up, man? Back to back Big Ten championships. Congratulations, strong. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the love. As you guys know, Chris is an Ohio State fan. Me and Chris was talking throughout the whole game. I will say this. I respect Chris. He was very humble about the loss. He was very, genuine about, what he thought about the game. And he wasn't being your typical Ohio State fan. So I appreciate you, Chris, for your hospitality in the game. But yeah, man, I really wasn't expecting that kind of outcome. I really wasn't, though.
I don't think anybody was. I was a little surprised that Ohio State's defensive line probably played their worst game of the year, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think the crazy thing is that we got a lot of young guys on this team that are balling out. Will Johnson is a beast. I love Will Johnson. He is playing very, very well. He's a freshman coming in there and showing what he got. We got Donovan Edwards-Jones, JJ McCaffrey. Those guys gonna be around for a minute. I'm very excited about the future of this Wolverine team. Where last year we had a really good team, but I wasn't sure about the future of the team after all the guys I was there that was going to leave. Now I'm like, wow, like we got a team that can be sustainable for a couple of years now.
Agreed. Got to keep Jim Harbaugh off the NFL watch.
Yeah, here we go with that. Oh my!
Honestly, if I were involved with Michigan football, I'd be like, yo, Jim. Before anybody even asks you the questions, come right out and say you're never leaving Michigan. Just say it. I'm never leaving Michigan. Just say it.
Just say it. You might as well just say it. Yeah.
I don't understand. Like you're a legend in Michigan. Before you even started coaching there, you win a national title. I mean, my God, man, you'll never have to buy another drink or another meal in that state the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And what NFL team could give you incentive to want to leave that? That's what I don't understand. Like the whole thing with Nick Saban, will Nick Saban ever leave Alabama? No, why would he?
Yeah. Chris says the fact that we had zero pass rush and did not disturb McCaffrey at all, even when blitzing was a huge factor in the game. I totally agree because our offensive line is really good. I mean, that was the one thing I was not nervous about going to the season was our offensive line. I knew it was going to be good. We had some balls up there. We had that transfer from I think it was Maryland. Good kid. He's really really good. He's our center. Really good kid. He also says Harbaugh should definitely take the coach job. Stop it, Chris. Stop it. Remy, appreciate it, man. Yeah, I just got it. Appreciate the love, man. I just got this shirt. I had to represent my Wolverines a little bit more than I have been. Been, rocking out more Eagle stuff, so I had to like balance it out a little bit, get some more gear for the Michigans. But I appreciate that, man. Remy's another Ohio State fan, so I do appreciate y'all, man. Love you guys, man. For y'all be Ohio State guys, I love you guys, man. For real. He said, shh. Oh man, you guys funny. All right, let's get into some. Let's do a little recap of the rest of the games real quick. And I want to see what games impressed you, right? So obviously, we're talking about the last game of the season. Since we did not we missed the last podcast, so let's get right to that real quick. South Carolina versus Clemson. Clemson loses to South Carolina 31-30. Last minute field goals wins South Carolina that game. What else we had? Alabama beating Auburn. I don't think anybody had that game being like anything crazy, but Alabama did put their a stamp on that game, really beating Auburn, allowing them to at least be in a conversation for the playoffs, and we'll talk about that in a second. What else? Oregon losing to Oregon State, which allows completely takes Oregon out the picture. In that aspect, I always thought Oregon State was a good team, and proud of them for what they did this year. TCU dominating Iowa State 42-14, a game that we kind of thought might be a closer game, but that game was not even close. Allowing them to get even higher in the rankings at that time. What else we had? Utah beating up on Colorado. We're gonna talk about that in a second. LSU losing to Texas A&M, 38-23. Game was 17-10 at halftime. And Texas A&M ran away with it in the fourth quarter, sealing up that game and sealing up LSU's fate as far as getting the playoffs ranking. In that one, Tennessee dominant win. Notre Dame losing to USC, allowing USC to have that brief playoff ranking for a little bit. 38-27. Sorry to bring that back up to you, right? I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So, Ray, what game stood out to you before we move
on? Spencer Rattler played really well again for South Carolina.
Yeah.
Took Clemson kind of out of the equation, which not they were in there anyway. Their defense really struggled this year at times. That is probably the most confusing part of college football this year for me. I expected Clemson's defense to be pretty good, and they just were not.
Definitely. No, I agree. Let's get to some of the chats. Also, the way Corum's injury was a blessing in a way, it showcased that McCaffrey can air it out, and Johnson and Bell were dogs. Johnson was definitely a dog. Bell is actually underwhelming. He's supposed to be our number one guy. He still technically is, but like he don't play like a number one guy. Cowboy fans, close your ears. He reminds me of CeeDee Lamb. He does. He has drop issues. He has a lot of talent. He just can't put it all together. CeeDee Lamb-ish. I mean, CeeDee Lamb in college is definitely different, but CeeDee Lamb on the Cowboys, I feel like Ronnie Bell's the same for the Michigan. Supposed to be that guy, not really that guy. I mean,
sometimes you got to get a quarterback that can get him the ball, though.
That's true.
I mean, McCaffrey had a solid year, played a little better down the stretch, but what Michigan did really well, like you said, was dominate the line of scrimmage, and every time they blitzed, they ran into the blitz and created a couple huge plays.
Definitely. I agree. Anyone else thinks USC lost because of the plenty injuries at quarterback? because the 3 drives that USC were very different for the rest of the game. Um, I talked to many people about this, and they did not agree. I think USA wins if quarterback is healthy. I don't necessarily disagree with that, but also UC defense was just trash. So I
Yeah, it's
mean,
not good.
the defense had nothing to do with UC playing. Williams was still playing very well with that, playing fairly well. He wasn't obviously who he was, and maybe he could have done a little bit more, but like for what he was doing, the defense didn't help him at all. So
USC lost that game on defense, not offense.
yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Utah finally made Jerome made you look, Jerome. Too bad it helped the Buckeyes in the playoffs. Yeah, man, I was definitely happy for Utah. It helped the Buckeyes. I mean, hey, man, I I worry about my team and I worry about who we play. So if Ohio State was in the playoffs and we wind up playing them again, so be it. But I mean, I'll never be like, oh no, we keeping the Ohio State in the playoffs. Ohio State did what they needed to do to still be in the playoffs. So I won't be the guy to be like, uh, uh, um, Utah should have lost because now Ohio State being. I don't care about that. But I get what you're saying. Utah definitely. I'm happy for those guys, man, because every time I rooted for them, they did not win. And actually, that was the first time I did root for them and actually did win. So shout out to the Utah guys. Question for Ray: does DJ go after transferring to where does DJ go? I'm sorry for transferring from after transferring from Clemson. Sorry, I can't read today. What do you think, Ray?
I don't know where he would go, but he struggled really bad in this game. I honestly don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure where he's from. So if I knew that, I'd probably be able to give you a better answer for that. So
That's a good question. That's a very good question, Ray.
obviously he can't enter the draft even though he's eligible. I would not enter the draft.
No.
If
He's definitely
Kelly,
not going to do that.
if Kelly Williams comes out, maybe he goes to USC. Maybe he goes to Utah.
Hmm, maybe. I mean, will he beat out Cameron Rising though? Because Cameron Rising is still going to be in the. I mean, he's not coming out of the draft, right?
I think he may be. But
Oh, really?
that's what you got to know. Well,
Yeah.
what is
Who's
the
coming
quarterback
out?
situation going to be
Yeah,
next year? Who's
yeah.
going to
We
be
got.
there? Who's not? If I knew where he was from, I'm not sure where he's from though.
He's from Riverside, California. I just checked it.
So USC would make sense. Maybe UCLA,
Yeah,
somewhere like that. I would stay away from the SEC if I were him, though, dude. Too
I
many good
agree.
defenses.
No, I agree. I was having this conversation with Lamarcus, and Lamarcus was just talking about DJ. He was like, DJ not that good. I'm like, no, I think DJ is good. I just think DJ is not as good as a Clemson type of quarterback. Coming off the heels of Trevor Lawrence, I think if you would have put him in like the MAC or something like that, he'll be dominant in the MAC. So like, you can't say he's a bad quarterback because I don't think so. And he did have some really good games this year. They just say he's not consistent, and he's not what Trevor Lawrence was last year, and he's not, doing enough to keep that. I mean, me and Ray been saying this for the last 2 years. That offensive line has not been that great.
No, that's why you go to a team like USC where the offensive line is good.
Yeah,
Run the ball. DJ needs to be in a specific type of offense where
right.
they run the ball and they throw it deep because he throws the ball deep. Clemson kept trying to turning into Trevor Lawrence, check down here, throw in, dig routes, out routes. No, run the ball.
Ray,
Get
that's
guys
funny.
open in the secondary and then throw it there.
I said that last year when it was like really bad. When I was like, I feel like they're not using DJ in the way he should be used over there. I mean, like you said, like I feel like they're trying to still keep the same type of offense that Trevor had instead of working around what your quarterback is strong at.
Trevor Lawrence is a different animal. He can throw the ball from
Yes.
different arm angles. This guy's not that. He needs to put his foot down, put his back foot down, and get rid of the ball and throw it deep. That's what he should be doing. But again, you can't do that if you're going to play. If Clemson's going to expect you to be Trevor Lawrence because he's not Trevor Lawrence, dude. I mean, I know some people will argue with me now Trevor Lawrence has struggled like the last year or two in Jacksonville. Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine. Trevor Lawrence needs to put on 20 pounds of muscle, but he's going to be fine. You know?
Yeah, definitely. Kill's injury did hurt them, but USC's defense is definitely terrible. Yeah,
it is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not complaining. They opened the door for us to get in. Yeah, no, USC did. That's it. He says, Cam Risner fan now. I hope you are, man. He helped y'all get in the playoffs, so I hope you are.
See, that's why if I were Cam Rising, two things. For one, coming off of that game, the way he's played, I may be tempted to come out.
Yeah.
But it is a deep year for quarterbacks. If you stay until next year, you'll be a higher pick next year.
I agree, Ray. And I think it's also like we are talking about now, and I seen Jordan Reed from ESPN. If you guys not follow him on Twitter, definitely follow him. He got some great insight with the draft and stuff like that. He's doing a phenomenal job. I hope I get to run into him at the Senior Bowl because I didn't get to run into him last year. But really, really intelligent guy when it comes to the draft, and one of the few guys I really listen to when I talk about the draft. He's a smart guy. He was saying that there's going to be a lot of like quarterbacks that's not really high up just still come out early because the amount of transfer portal players right now is going to be insane, and they're going to start being transfer portal players going to their teams, and just going to be like it's going to be competition. At that point, it might drop their stock. So, and I agree with him. I think that's going to happen. I really do think it's going to happen. Like the lower tier quarterbacks right now might just come out to the draft early.
I don't know who that is, Facebook user there, but Ryan Day's offense is no different than Urban Meyer's offense was.
Crossing around, 99% sure that's Remy, but let me check. Go ahead.
It's the same offense as they ran before.
Mm-hmm.
Crossing routes, everything's underneath, shallow crosses, middle crosses. Every once in a while, take a shot deep. That's the same offense they've been running for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Day just doesn't look as good because their offensive line is not as good.
Yep, I agree. Trying to see who said that. But yeah, right. I didn't even read the question. I mean, for a long time fan. Yeah, that's definitely Remy. I'm not thrilled. Donington's dead.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, go ahead, bro.
I mean, we've been talking about this ever since what's his name? The kid that went to Washington that just got killed last year. I can't remember his name. The quarterback. The guy who was going to go to Miami the 1 year. Haskins.
Yeah.
Haskins. I mean, they were running the same offense as he was there.
Yeah.
But when the guys are wide open in the middle of the field, it's great. Mm-hmm. But if that and no real run game to depend on Ohio State, which was really more surprising than the passing game, really. So
yeah. Also, I can't be the only one who tired of Alabama fans whining about the playoffs. It has zero qualifications to win, repetition. Chris, we're going to get to that.
We're going to get into that a little later. I have a little bit of a different opinion on that, so we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But when we get to the playoff part, I'm excited to see the playoffs because first and foremost, I am a college football fan.
Correct.
I just wish my team were more involved. That's all.
I agree. Move DJ to TCU then. Because Max Duggan is a senior, I believe. And I think that he is going to the draft. So.
I like that team. I like Duggan. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't know if they asked them guys to do a lot of check down too. I don't know if DJ fits that offense either.
I agree.
I think you got to run the ball and take shots deep with him. I think that's where he would excel.
Yeah, I agree. It's the same offense. They wasting so much offensive talent. Yeah.
You're not wasting talent if you can't block. If you don't, and we talk about wide receivers. Yeah, man, wide receivers are toys, like corners. They're the shiny little toy that look good when everybody else up front does their job. Mm-hmm. If they don't do their front job up front, then they don't win.
Correct.
Simple.
Correct. They didn't run a single crossing route the entire game. I disagree with that, Chris. I do disagree.
He tried to. They were cutting him off. Michigan's defense played really well against them. What they did is they come up and they played some man and they dropped in the zone. And they were very confused. No question about that. Now, that would be an adjustment that Ryan Day should have made that he didn't make. And I will go there because they were trying to run the same offense. And what Michigan was doing is they were coming up and playing bump coverage on them, and they were taking guys off of their routes before they even got into them. So therefore, it looked like they weren't trying to run crossing routes, but they were. They just weren't getting there before Michigan's rush got there.
I don't understand why they didn't choose to stretch the field out. You're still talking about if you're still talking about the Ohio State game, they was definitely trying to. I think they were. It's just that I think, like Ray is saying, they were being a little bit too one-dimensional. They was actually doing fairly well running the ball, and I think if they would have stuck to that a little bit more than the run, and then use more play action and stuff like that, it would have been more beneficial for them.
And also, if you can't block up front, you can't wait for deep routes to get open.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, that's the last of our comments for the moment. So let's get into championship weekend, Ray. Again, we didn't get to do our predictions, but we get to do our previews like normal. Before we get there, I do want to throw something on the screen because, drum roll, guys. Me and Ray finished the season with our predictions completely tied. Completely tied. I did win last week by 1 game. It was a fairly what was it? We only had 9 games. It was Ray was 4-5, I was 5-4, and we completely tied. I was not expecting anything like that. That's insane. That is insane. Out of all the games of this season, we were completely tied, Ray. That's hilarious.
That's ugly.
Not a great record, but
no, ugly.
We didn't hit 100, but it was definitely fun going against you, Ray. We will have some predictions for next week. We're not going to get into too many because we only got 1 game this week, but we will talk about some of the games. But let's get into this week's games as I get it loaded. I'm sorry, not this week's game, championship game.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's get into the first one. TCU versus K-State. K-State beating TCU, knocking them to 12-1. First loss of the game of the year. K-State game. K-State team that I thought was on the rise. Currently number 10 now, and with 3 losses. Beat them in overtime. Ray, what's your initial thought of this game?
You know what? It was probably one of the better games I saw last weekend, to be honest with you. I thought it was a very good game. It was exciting to watch. Deuce Vaughn does what Deuce Vaughn does, and it was a very entertaining game, so I liked it.
Deuce, one of my favorite running backs coming into the season. Really, really underrated running back. I hope he get a lot more shine for that, being a national televised game. People really understand how he is. Howard played a very good game as a quarterback, 18 for 30. 32, 189, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Max Dugan played pretty well as well. A little bit better efficiently. He did throw an interception in the game. Ray, what do you think was the difference, though?
I think that Kansas State just basically ran their offense and wouldn't let up. I think that TCU's defense had one of their worst games of the year, to be honest with you. So
K-State is definitely a solid team. Yeah, I agree. And they are not the most sound defense, which is another reason why I wasn't like going crazy over this team. But their offense is a very solid team. Like you said, Ray, they got good scheme behind them. Their coach, I forgot their coach's name, but he's a good guy. I think he's, one of those guys that, deserves some recognition for what he did with this team. And they beat an undefeated team, TCU team that was under a lot of pressure, man. I mean, one of the top teams that's going to the playoff, and fortunately for them, they didn't squander their playoff chances. And we'll talk about that in a second. But I agree, Ray. This was one of the better games of the weekend. Very fun to see. And I wish we was able to preview that game because I would have told people that was the closest game thing most people would have thought.
Yeah, I liked that game. I thought it was going to be a competitive game. We both like Deuce Vaughn a lot. Second round tape, 4th round body is going to be his problem. But he's a very talented player, man. I can't wait to see what he does in the NFL. To be honest with you.
Yeah, they're. I mean, yeah, they're solid on a sense that they're not the biggest program, but they can compete with any program in the game. I agree. They they remind me of and I'm not saying this in a totality, but in a sense of a Big Ten at least. They remind me of what's this team? Well, dang, never mind because I can't remember the team name. But some of those Big Ten teams, dang, I can't believe I can't remember the name of the team, but they it's one of those teams that just like solid and just like they're not the greatest team, they're a small team, but like they're annoying,
Mm-hmm.
comparable to Wisconsin. I give you that. Yeah, yeah. Northwestern. That's what I'm thinking about.
Yeah.
Northwestern, a team that people don't think about, and then they come and play a team, and you're just like, wow, they're playing really tough. And
Mm-hmm.
they remind me of that. I mean, maybe it's just the purple, but
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I agree with that. I agree with you what you're saying too, Remy. All right, let's get to Georgia LSU. Big game for LSU. Give them a big chance to maybe even sneak into it. Maybe, possibly, it was the best. That was the top team in the SEC. They lost 50-3 to Georgia. Georgia looking powerhouse at the moment. What's your initial thoughts on that one, Ray?
That Brian Kelly does what Brian Kelly does. Every time he gets to a big game, chokes.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah, had to use two quarterbacks. I think
Yeah.
did,
Garrett Nussmeier and Jaden Daniels.
yeah, did Jane Daniels get injured or he just got replaced?
I think a little bit of both. He got a little bit beat up. The offensive line didn't have a great game in that game
Yeah,
either.
yeah, he had a sore
Really,
thumb. That's what it was.
Georgia could have just completely manhandled them if they really wanted to, but they kind of let him score a little bit at the end to
Mhm.
make it look more respectable than it really was.
Yeah, and the fact that LSU only had 47 rushing yards still in the
Yeah.
entire game. I mean, they did pass for a lot, but they had to. They had a lot of attempts. Being one solid on a one sided on a team that is as good as a defense as Georgia, you can't do that. You have to have some balance. You have to at least attempt to run the ball a little bit more than they did, and it just didn't.
Well, that's the thing. Like Georgia kind of let them complete passes as long as they didn't get in the end zone as much, and they just let it go that way.
Yeah. Georgia LSU was going to be a beatdown of LSU. I knew the whole time, and low key knew Ray was smiling a little bit. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you know how I feel about Brian Kelly.
yeah,
I'll never say he's not a good coach because he's a good coach, but I just don't like him in big games. I just
agree,
don't. So
agree. All right, let's get to Michigan Purdue. Um, as a Michigan fan, game was a little too close at the beginning. I feel like Michigan's a second half team. I mean, they play out a team, fill them out, and then in the second half they make their adjustments. Was is very rare because if you guys don't remember from 2 years ago, that was my biggest complaint about Jim Harbaugh and me wanting him to be out of there. And this year they show exactly why he should stay. I mean, he's been making adjustments. He's been playing better in the second half of every game that I've seen this year. And I think that feeling calms me at half when we're close. I mean, as long as Michigan's close in the second half, it gives me a calm. You'll be like, all right, we're gonna make our adjustments. We're gonna come in and do what we do to win the game. That's what we did, right?
I think Jim Harbaugh is a good coach, man.
Yeah,
You're never going to hear me say he's not a good coach. I know people have been before last year. People were beating the door down to get rid of him because
I was one of them. I'll admit, I was one of them. I was one of them. I was
but
one of them.
Jim Harbaugh is a good coach, man. That's
He
all.
is. He
So
is.
it
I
is.
mean, and I respect it, and now I can see why he keeps getting in the NFL talk. I hope he don't leave. That really mess up our recruiting. But yeah, I mean, and if he's gonna leave, just leave, man. Just go. Stop toying around with it and playing around. You're gonna leave, leave. If you're gonna stay, tell us you're gonna stay. Don't have us.
Well, I mean, I don't think you'll hear anything until after they play their games. But
Oh yeah, that
then as soon as that happens, you'll hear. See, that's why if I were him, before I even say mutter another word, I'd be like, "Yo, I'm never leaving Michigan. It's my alma mater. It's where I want to be.
Mhm,
Done, simple. Don't want to talk about it anymore.
definitely.
That's all."
No, I agree. I agree. And I love the fact that like I said, his the love that he has for his team, his players, the fact that he's changing things up on in the organization. I mean, we were so the year that we just got killed by Ohio State with the cross routes and the fact that we didn't adjust to it. And Harbaugh was like, "I'm tired of losing to Ohio State. We gotta make changes." And he started off with the defensive coordinator and try to change up on the offense. And he gave up his offensive play calling to the defense offense coordinator. He's trying at least, and I always respect somebody that tries, somebody that is attempting to be better. And when results are there, also give me all the respect. So same thing with Howard Rose, man. We're not gonna talk about Howard Rose right now, but same thing with him,
Yeah,
man. Like
please. Let's not talk about how
he's
to
trying.
roll. Okay. I have a question.
Correct.
I do think that if Ohio State doesn't make a serious run in the national title this year, and they have another up and like not up, I shouldn't say up and down, another year where they don't get to where the fans think they should be, I think
Mhm.
Ryan Day could be in trouble next year. My
Yeah.
question is for like Chris and Remy and any other Ohio State fans, who would you give the job to? Is there
Yeah.
anybody right now that you say, well, I want this guy? There's
I
not.
don't know.
There's not.
Because I mean, we're gonna touch. I mean, we're running a little long right now, so we probably just touch a little bit on the coaching. But Fickle just got a job. Obviously, Deion. I never thought Deion would be a Ohio State guy, but Deion just got a job. So like the bigger name guys are getting jobs. Who else is out there really for Ohio State that could fit Ohio State? I mean, I hate the. I mean, after the Michigan game and hearing we want Myers, I was no, you don't. No, you don't. You do not want him back. And honestly, I don't think Ohio State would bring him back after the way the exit was and the controversy around him. I don't think they would actually bring him back.
I don't know if they would or not. I mean, I don't know what their fans think. I think that I don't know, man.
Remy said,
I
"Wow,
honestly
Fickle."
don't know.
Fickle just got a new job, Remy.
Yeah, they're not going to buy out Lou Fickle. He just got hired.
Yeah,
Why would he go
Myers
anywhere?
was their coach again.
That's not true though.
I agree with Ray.
That's not true.
I agree
I
with
would
Ray. He,
almost bet
he, he
money
wants to. He wants to.
he's on the sideline next year, if not the year after, without a doubt.
I think definitely by the year after. But
Without,
after every,
without a doubt, dude.
I feel like after stuff calmed down with him a little bit because this
He'll
was his
never
first
coach in
year.
he'll never coach in the NFL again. That's
Yeah, but this is his first year out of the NFL. I say give him one more off season, and I think he'll get a job. But right now,
there's already been rumblings about him getting offered jobs. They're
yeah,
never where he wants to go, but
Mhm.
we'll see, dude. I
yeah, you know what he wants. He wants a big name. He wants a big
he
program.
does. He wants a big program. He wants to be in charge of everything. We'll see. I mean, I think that there's no question he'll be coaching somewhere. If
Yeah,
not 2023, definitely 2024, without a doubt.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. All right, let's get to a game that had nothing to do with the playoffs, but I thought it was fun watching. Clemson versus UNC. And the reason why is that the young guy K Klubnik. I mean, he came in, looked really good against UNC. DJ was struggling in the beginning. They made the change early in the game, and Clemson kind of ran away from it. I think it was just fun to see as a young guy getting his chance to really shine in a big stage. What was your thought on this one, Ray?
I agree with you. I think Klubnik did a really good job. I think making the change early was a good move for Clemson. And
Correct.
he fits that mode. He's not a huge arm guy. He's got a solid arm. He can throw a little bit from different angles. They did a good job. I still don't think their defense is where it should be. but they did a good job against UNC because they got a nice lead. So
You guys think Fickle can't be bought out by Ohio State, his alma mater, big program? No, I mean, it's possible, but this year he just got hired. It's not gonna happen this year. More money, I understand that. It's not gonna happen this year though. You can't do that. He's gonna get his name just gonna get dragged through the mud after that if he does something
plus,
like that.
what do you think Wisconsin's going to do? Just let him walk away like that after he
Yeah,
hasn't even coached a game?
yeah.
Well, like, honestly, man,
Especially in the conference.
if he does that, that's gonna be really a black eye to himself, really.
Yeah, no, for
Like
real.
you didn't even step in the door yet, and you're already making a change, or even thinking about it.
No days there for minimum one more year minimum. Maybe.
No, I agree with that. I think he's there. He's there for at least next year. I
Yeah.
mean, if they win, if they beat, like they make it to the national title game and they win, then he's there
Oh
for
yeah.
4 years.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I agree. Uh, but yeah, back to the Klubnik thing. Like Ray said, it was really good to see him. I think that was a good time to change. I mean, DJ was struggling. They're not making the playoffs. See how Klubnik does in big games. You get to see him this week. You get to see him, and I'm sorry, you get to see him last week. You get to see him in the bowl game. I forgot what bowl game they have, but you get to really see how he does in the big time. I mean, he's a big time player too. He had two state championship with his former team in Texas. The reason why we know because we got to interview him when he was in high school, so we know him pretty well. He had, if I'm not mistaken, either two or three state championships in high school. Played at the Dallas Cowboys Stadium for the championship game, where it was a good amount of people in that crowd and play under the lights there. Good kid, so he can play under those. He can play under those situations. I thought that was a good chance to allow him to do it in the college ranks now.
I agree. I think that the fact that he played against a really bad North Carolina defense, so we'll see how he
Yeah,
does.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Definitely, definitely. He gives me Kelly vibes. Shrinking in big game. Are you talking about who?
Ryan Day again.
Right. Oh, Ryan Day. Um,
Um,
yes and no. I mean, they didn't have the worst year last year.
I mean, they have one
Actually,
bad
they had a good. I mean, United States
loss.
fans are funny. He had one loss this year. It was to us. I know it's a rivalry game, so it makes you guys feel different about it. He had a good year
We
as
did.
far
It's
as
fine.
allowing you guys to, yeah. Now I'm not gonna be the one to be like y'all had a weak schedule or strong schedule, whatever, because you can say the same thing about the Michigan. Um, I'm not gonna sit here and say that in big games he folds, because I mean he had who did play last year, or did they make the playoffs last year? I think they did, right? Yeah,
Yeah, they did. They lost to Michigan last year too, though.
yeah,
Anytime you lose to a rival like that, it's a big loss. But
yeah.
I'm not ready to say that he can't coach in big games yet. I mean, I'm not ready for that yet. I mean,
Right.
I do think next year is if they don't get to where they need to go, he'll be on the hot seat a little bit.
Next year's definitely gonna be big for them for sure.
Correct. But again, who are you going to hire? I mean, you know how I feel about this, Jerome. You want to fire your coach? Do it. Tell me who
Definitely,
you're replacing him with first, though, please.
definitely.
That's all.
I agree. All right, let's get to our last game of last week, which was Utah versus USC and the spanking that they gave USC. Utah, man, looking good. Like I said, a team I enjoy watching. I really like them. Ray, what's your initial thoughts on this game?
Utah put it to them, man. They played their game and didn't let up at all. When Cameron Rising had a great game, they just really played well. Played like really, really well against USC's defense is not great, but
Mhm.
you wouldn't thought they'd give up that amount of yardage to Utah because Utah usually struggles to score.
Yeah,
But
and that's
a couple turnovers, it happens.
oh yeah, yeah. Turnover is definitely Utah's defense looked really well. It didn't hurt that Caleb Williams was injured, so I'm not gonna act like that wasn't a factor. He was injured. He was playing through it, but at the same time, the defense did not help. Utah's offense was very balanced. I was actually very surprised with that, with a lot of run and passing, and mixing it up. No turnovers from Rising. Very efficient on the ground from Jackson on Utah. Um, yeah, it was one of those games where despite Caleb being injured, and all kudos to him for fighting through it and still playing pretty well actually with the injury.
He did.
Um,
Williams didn't give up 223 yards rushing either. So
yeah,
I mean, if you
exactly,
can't stop teams from running the ball, dude, you're probably not going to win. So
exactly. The offense was very one dimensional. Only had 53 yards rushing.
Mhm.
But the difference between them and what was the team I was talking about earlier? They actually attempted to run. They had 17 attempts by Jones. They had 12 by Williams, which probably wasn't a good thing because it's the quarterback. But um, the rushing attempts wasn't always that bad. You had like 27 versus 41. Um, and a game where you're kind of playing catch up too. But
You average 2 yards a carry. You can't
yeah,
stick with the run game when you're down by a lot.
yeah,
The whole thing just steamrolled on them, man. Let's face it. I
correct,
mean,
correct.
they played really well against Notre Dame and played really crappy against Utah. Plain and
No,
simple.
I agree.
You know.
Yeah, and like we said, Caleb being injured didn't help. But hey, man, all kudos to Utah. They played a really good game. Super exciting to see them win, and Cam Rising starting to get the recognition that he deserved from him. Like Chris was saying earlier, he played very very well in that game.
He did
Definitely.
for sure.
All right, let's get into our next topic, guys, because we are running on time. So I want to get to this real quick. So there's a couple of coaching changes. We've already touched on Fickle going to Wisconsin. I think that's a good fit. But let's talk about the big one. Obviously, Deion Sanders going to Colorado. Now, this is a very controversial hiring. A lot of people are mad at Deion because leaving Jackson State after winning their championship game. Um, Thinking, being an HBCU coach, hoping that he would stay there for the long run, really change the dynamic in HBCU. Ray, what's your take on this hire? Do you think not only your take on the controversy, but like what do you think of the fit for him in Colorado as well?
I think it's a good fit. I think Dion is that guy. I think he'll recruit well.
Mm-hmm.
I think with
Already recruited well. He recruited well the day he got hired there.
correct. I mean, so and we know coaching is 80% about recruiting, man. And if he
Right.
does a good job there with with USC leaving the that conference, these things wide open for him. I mean, I think honestly, like man, I respect Deion Sanders, the football player. I think he's just one of them guys that people like to be around. He really is. He's just one of those guys, man. So I think whatever he does, man, he has to do what Deion Sanders wants to do. If you ever thought he was going to stay at a lower division team like that forever, then you weren't being realistic. I mean, he was not going to stay there. I mean, he got there to get his foot in the door. He did that, and he played it to a bigger stage. And you see how it goes. I think he's landed in a good spot with a solid team, Power 5 program. So we'll see. I mean, it's all up to Deion now, and it's not going to be the nice little program anymore. He has to produce, and I think he will.
Yeah, 100% agree. I'm not gonna like you say, Ray. I agree with the fact that nobody thought. Well, I'm not gonna say nobody because it wouldn't be a controversy if nobody thought. But I don't think most people realistically thought that he's gonna stay there. I mean, it does think that he's leaving. I did hope that he will stay a little longer. But hey, man, do what you gotta do. I'm not gonna knock somebody for getting a promotion. That's a promotion, dude. And I think people should be happy for him instead of knocking him down. It does stink for HBCU schools because let's face it, the HBCU was because of him. Honestly, let's be real. And it does stink because now they probably be as an irrelevant type of football, stadium. And then I think that now that he's not there, people are not going to pay attention to the HBCU schools like they were, which is very unfortunate. But I feel like something like this was inevitable. I mean, we all knew that he's going to take a job outside of being there. He's Deion Sanders, man. I mean, he wanted to be a coach to a big time school, and then the man's name is Prime Time. Come on, he wants to be Prime Time. He wants to be out there. I'm not ever gonna knock him for making that decision. Do it suck for HBCU? Yes, it does, and I hope there is somebody that can at least bring some breath in there, but it's not gonna be another Deion Sanders. It's gonna be there. So in a token, I'm very happy for him. I don't think that was a bad move on his part. I don't think it's a bad move on Colorado's part. I wish that people will still pay attention to HBCU, but let's just be realistic. It's not going to happen.
I mean, what Chris is saying right there is exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, your name isn't Prime Time and you want to play coach of a lower division team. It's just not realistic.
Yeah. During his time there, he got the school's new field, equipment, scholarships, and he gets to take a 1-11 team and make them his. It's a 1-1. I 100% agree with Chris. Now, and I forgot who I was listening to, but they said it perfectly. Now that HBCU school has the blueprint, now take it, run with it, do what you can with it. Use all the resources that he's able to give you and put that in. With that being said, like I would say, like 40 to 50, maybe even 60% of that roster is gonna go somewhere else after this. Unfortunately, but he's gonna bring his sons to Colorado. Travis Hunter is gonna go to transfer to Colorado. It's gonna happen. I mean, people saying maybe Travis Hunter is gonna go somewhere else. No, he's going to Colorado. He's just going to Colorado. He's going to stay with Deion. That's the unfortunate part of it. But like I said, take what your resources. You got a new stadium, new field. New stadium, but new field, new equipment. Use that as leverage to still get very good recruits. You're not gonna get the Deion Sanders type of recruits, but you're gonna still get some solid guys in there. Continue your championship run, and use that blueprint to make your team better. And maybe we can keep that HBCU school, still relevant. Maybe again, not going to be Deion type of relevant, but at least he helped that school, and I do appreciate Deion doing that for that school for real. So it's unfair and unrealistic to put all the expectations on a rising HBCU on one person. If they truly value Prime's impact and then prioritize the program and those kids. I agree. 100% agree, Chris.
I just wish it wasn't so obvious that he's probably going to take too many kids with him. That's the one thing that bothers me.
Yeah.
But the transfer portal bothers me in general.
The transfer portal did that. You can't blame Deion for that. That's a transfer portal.
It's like you can't blame guys for wanting to be in the game and playing the game. You can't. 100%. I mean, I don't like it at all. But you can't blame teams for doing that, because if you don't do it, you're going to be behind the 8 ball.
I agree. I'm not sure why George Tate didn't even interview him. That's a good question, Jack, and thanks for being on here, Jack. Appreciate you being on again with us. That's a great question. I don't know why either. I think that that would have been a cool fit just to see him back in Atlanta. Seemed like a good town for him. Not sure. Maybe some people still don't think he's that good, I guess. I don't know. I mean, let's see. But best of luck to Deion. Best of luck to Colorado. Interesting to see how they do. They're already getting tons of recruits and stuff like that. I'm seeing it all over Twitter already. It's kind of insane actually. He just got hired like 2 days ago, 3 days ago, something like that. So kudos to him. All right, let's talk about this is gonna be our last topic because we are running
I mean,
through.
so just before we close out, let me finish this on us. Wisconsin hiring Luke Fickell and Nebraska hiring Matt Rule are going to be good for the Big Ten. Okay,
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
be
that's gonna
very
be
good
yeah.
for the Big Ten.
I agree, Ray.
And I want to add this when we get into the I guess we're going to get into
Heisman talk.
the Heisman or the playoff rounds.
Oh, we can briefly talk about the playoffs too, real quick.
You want to do Heisman first or playoff first?
We're gonna talk about Heisman first.
All right. Go ahead.
I'm hoping the faith in Brent Keys pay off. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Agreed.
See how that goes. I'm not too familiar with Brent Keys like that to give a big opinion on it, but um, it is what it is. Quick thought on Purdue's head coach and leaving for Louisville's coach. Purdue had who was that? You remember, Ray?
Who's that?
Purdue's coach went going to Louisville. I forgot who it was.
I'm not sure about that either for some reason.
Jeff Brown.
Oh, Jeff Watt. Okay. Good coach. Interesting. I like that.
Definitely.
I like it.
Isn't he from there or something like that?
He did. Yeah, he was from Purdue at one time. Yeah. He was really.
Yeah, he coached at Louisville. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha. I mean, I like that. I think that's a good move for him.
Yeah, familiar grounds, something like he likes. If you like the place, why not?
Why not?
So, I don't hate when coaches try to go back to stomping ground places they're familiar with. Sometimes things don't work out at the moment, and then when two programs or two people or whatever leave each other, and then they realize how much they miss each other, and they kind of come back and like, man, I miss you too, like, and it'd be a good connection, kind of like Rutgers and Brian what's his name?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Coach Brian. Forgot his last name, but something like that, where coach leave and come back. So
yeah,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. All right, so let's get into Heisman talk because I think that is something that we definitely need to discuss, the Heisman race. So if you guys have been living under a rock, the candidacies is very, very interesting. So for you guys who don't know, it is CJ Stroud, Caleb Williams, Stidham Bennett, and Max Duggan. As a Michigan fan, very disappointed. But not only that, I know Ray has something to say about one guy in particular. So I'm gonna let you go, Ray. Tell me what you feel about these Heisman candidates.
I think they're solid guys. I don't think Stetson Bennett should be the Heisman winner at all. I think if I had to pick, I would pick Caleb Williams.
Yeah. I think Williams is going to be a Heisman. I do. I'm just upset, and this could just be the quarterback thing because obviously you see it's 4 quarterbacks in there. And this thing kind of drives me crazy because it don't.
Well, you want to make Corum?
It don't allow other players to get in. Yeah, I would have put in Corum. Yes, he missed 2 games, but he's still one of the best running backs in the country. Was a big part of Michigan's success this year. I think he should have been over Stidham. I really do. I think that even though Stidham's going to be on a higher pedestal, obviously he's an SEC guy playing for Georgia, #1 team. But Stidham, wherever his name is, he sees Stidham.
Stetson Bennett.
Stanton Bennett. Sorry.
If they give it to him, please.
I don't think Corum was ever had a chance to actually win it. I'm not gonna lie about that part of it. But for him in the finals. I think he should have been a finalist. Yes, I know he got injured. And it's funny because I texted Ray. I was like, "Do injuries count or like against Heisman's?" Ray was like, "I don't think so," and I agree with that. And then only missing 2 games, was dominant every game he played.
But I think that
Over 100 plus yards.
people will look at it and say, "Well, how did Michigan do without him?" And the answer is they did really well without him. So
Yeah, I don't believe that. I get Bennett was one of the best teams, but he's so out of place. Yes,
agreed,
I agree. I
completely
totally
agree,
agree.
without a doubt, agree.
Yeah.
Stetson Bennett reminds me of the year that Gino Gino Toretta won the Heisman at Miami because
Oh yeah,
Miami had like about 20 NFL players on it, and he wasn't one of them, but he won the Heisman.
yeah. Insane, insane. Yeah. So I'm gonna give my my winner to Williams. I say C.D. Stroud is a close second. I know a lot of people gonna downplayed him as since he lost to Michigan, but I'm not gonna lie, I thought he's gonna run away with it for the entire year until that game. So I'm not gonna jump off of that just because I'm a Michigan fan. I don't like Ohio State. I felt like he was the runner up all the way up into that game. I think that Williams came out really fast and close. Chris, he's 2022. AJ McCarron. Oh, that is funny.
Hey,
That's not. That's not.
At least AJ McCarron was on a team that won a national title. Again, I know Bennett could be too,
Yeah.
but AJ McCarron actually threw the ball. Yeah, man, I'm not gonna. I don't even want to go there. I don't. I don't want to. I don't want to talk about it. AJ McCarron's going to be playing in the USFL this year. So,
Mhm. Yeah. I
so
agree. I agree.
honestly, I would go this. I would go Williams, Stroud, Dugan, and then I would go Bryce Young before I would even
I like it.
before I would even.
Yeah, and I'm surprised Bryce Young wasn't in it either. He was playing really well all year as well. I thought I would say probably like 3 weeks ago, Young and Corum was lost in there. Um, so I'm just a little surprised how it kind of shaked up. And 4 quarterbacks at that, you might have to. I don't know, man. I don't. It's the same thing with the NFL MVP. Just becoming a quarterback's reward, which stinks, but it is what it is, I guess. So
Well, like it's the quarterback thing. It's usually the spot.
I felt like it was Hooker before the ACL tear. Agreed, but he got injured too early in the season. Like
He did.
not early in the season, but too early in the season to actually put him in there. It wasn't like he was like groundbreaking and from beginning to end. He's really good throughout the season, and then he had that good, really long run, and then he got injured.
Yeah.
Probably like I think like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was too early for him to get the Heisman. I mean, I agree with you, Chris. Though, yeah, once he got injured, I was like, yeah, he's not gonna get it anymore.
No,
He's gonna,
I don't think he was going to be after getting hurt when he did. He
yeah,
was pretty much out of the picture then. So
yeah, definitely. No, I agree. Well, that's our opinions on that. All right, let's get last topic real quick before we get off, and we are going to talk about bowl games. So, what is our most anticipated bowl game? So, before we start, we like to do this as a quick tradition every year. Talk about these ridiculous bowl names. So, Ray, I'm gonna read them off to you real quick. Some of them are very funny. Um, so we have the Wasabi Winway Bowl. We have the Cricket Celebration Bowl. You have the Jim Kimmel, sorry, Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl, which is funny. We have famous Idaho Potato Bowl. We have roofclaim.com Bay Rouge Bowl. We have Union Home Mortgage Gunparzia Bowl. That's a mouthful. We got the Camellia Bowl. We got the Guaranteed Rate Bowl. And a lot of these are named after like companies and stuff like that, so it makes sense. But it's just funny to hear. Bad Boy Mowers Bowl. I'm sorry, Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. As always, we got the Cheez It Bowl. They always think that's funny. Duke's Mayo Bowl. We have the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. That's interesting. That is funny. Tony the Tiger, the Kellogg's.
Is Clemson going to be in it against LSU?
That one is Clemson to LSU.
Those Tigers, brother.
That's funny. That is a funny. That one's gonna be pitting UCLA though. We got the Barstool Sports Bowl. Barstool got a bowl.
No, that's great. Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the
City Bowl.
Can't wait for the Barstool Bowl.
Cheez-It actually has 2 bowls. That's crazy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they have the Cheez-It Citrus Bowl, and they have just the Cheez-It Bowl. Interesting.
I'm waiting for the Snap Crackle and Pop Bowl.
Right. Yeah, that's pretty much all of them. But we like to go through that every year. Just talk about how ridiculous some of these bowl names are. Let's get to our comments real quick. I miss when the Rose Bowl was just the bowl game. I agree. I do miss the Rose Bowl being the game.
Absolutely.
Can't wait for Inside. Yes. The Inside the Hashers Bowl in 2032. I'm all for it, Chris. Let's do that. Let's get it. Let's get us the bowl, man. Let's get us the bowl. I love it, Chris. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. It's always fun just to kind of read those off every year. Me and Ray have a ball on that. All right, let's get into our most anticipated bowl games. Ray, I'm gonna start with you. What game are you looking forward to?
Just the playoffs, Jerome. I don't really like. I told you earlier, bowl games. There's too many of them now. They are as important.
Yeah.
It used to be like when they had the Sugar Bowl and the Rose Bowl. Like they were like important games, but now they're just so many bowl games. They really don't matter. I'm looking forward to the playoffs.
I agree.
Who wins the championship, so.
I agree. Well, for one, Rose Bowl, I'm definitely interested to
the Rose Bowl. Yeah, I like that.
It's going to be really good with Penn State versus Utah. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch.
That should be a good game.
I'm always into the Utah game. Obviously, all the playoffs games are going to be, most anticipated. Not sure how I feel about us playing TCU as a matchup. I'm not gonna say they're a rollover game, but and we'll talk about that in later podcasts when the game get a little bit closer. We got a couple of weeks in between games, so we're trying to spread out what we talk about too. So we're not gonna get into predictions right now. I like the Capital One Bowl, Tennessee versus Clemson. I feel like they're very matchable games. I wish Hooker was playing that game. That would be even better. Yeah. But to see those two teams in there, I think that'd be fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
You don't like the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, Ray?
No.
You know who's in it, right?
Yeah, I know.
Notre Dame versus South Carolina.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got. Oregon versus North Carolina. I think that's going to be a pretty good one. That's
high scoring.
To San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. Jeez, they making them longer and longer.
Wow.
That one I like that one. Coastal Carolina versus East Carolina. And maybe not that one. Let's see. All the other ones, they're not the funnest matchups.
Yeah.
It's a lot of these are like one-sided too. Like it's a really good team and then it's a okay team. I mean, I guess Florida versus Oregon State might be okay, and that's the
fun game to watch.
Say again, right?
It'd be a fun game to watch.
Yeah.
The scoring will be done. It'll be a fun game to watch.
Correct.
Here's the one thing I would like to bring up right now is that I think with Fickle and going to the Big Ten is going to be a good thing. I think what's his name going to Wisconsin is going to be nice for them. I think that honestly, we've always had this debate about SEC versus Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
The Big Ten is closing the gap right now.
There,
Them coaches
he's got
improve
two
those
good coaches.
teams. And I'll be honest with you. Here's what: if I were the Big Ten, I know there's going to be teams moving around now. I would push really strong for Notre Dame to come into that conference.
I agree.
I don't know if Notre Dame would want to do it. I think that you would have to entice them with a lot of money. I think that and I know the Michigan is kind of like has never really wanted Notre Dame in the conference for whatever reason it is. But if you add Notre Dame and their brand, and I know it's a down time right now, it's like this year at least. You add them in a Florida State from the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about really closing the gap between the Big Ten and the SEC. Then
I agree.
Not only in talent, but in national brands, like teams that you can put a hat on and say, "Wow, I like that." I think.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have like at least another conference that can compete with a big conference like a SEC.
Yeah,
because then that brings just better play for for college football. I really do think.
I mean,
and
I live in this area. I've always been a Big Ten fan, and the crazy thing about it is, I've had arguments with people, Remy included, about the Big Ten being not being on the same level as an SEC conference, and I don't think it is right now.
Yeah,
but I think the gap is closing.
It is closing,
and I would rather the Big Ten be the dominant conference.
Yeah,
I live in this area, man.
That actually fits into what I was about to say. Is that look at the playoffs right now? Two Big Ten teams, one SEC team. So, hey, we might be closing that gap. So I don't think this is a mistake either. I think that some of those SEC teams, some teams are getting better as we talk about it. And I know SEC teams are going to get the better recruits in a sense because a little bit more warmer weather kind of teams, and you have to worry about the elements. But I mean, I always thought that Big Ten teams just a little bit more tougher. I mean, not trying to say that there's not tough teams in SEC, but we play each other tougher. It's not a lot of one-sided kind of games. And I think that was proven in the championship game. I mean, it was close for a minute with Purdue, so versus Michigan. So
I think
I'll fit Big Ten right there with SEC. And
I agree. I think you got to also remember Michigan, after playing the way they did against Ohio State, was due for a letdown, and to still basically handle Purdue the way they did.
Correct.
Was probably what you should have expected after coming off a big highlight. So
100% agree. 100% agree. So, all right. I think that's all for us today, guys. Thank you guys for. I'm sorry. Chris said that Kansas State versus Bama. I did skip over that game. Could be a good one, but Young and Anderson could sit out. I think that's the only other thing too. It's just to Ray's point, a lot of these big players in these games are going to opt out.
I mean, that's my thing about Notre Dame against South Carolina. Their best player is Michael Meyer. He's not playing.
He opted out. Yeah,
he's not playing. I mean, like who are they going to throw a ball to?
Yeah, and I think with a playoff system, it's going to help with that a little bit. The playoff system that we should be getting soon, it should help out with that. I don't think it's going to.
Do we want to go over? I guess we'll wait for another later day to go over the expansion of the playoff to 12 teams.
Yeah, we should probably talk about that next week.
Is ridiculous.
12 teams is a lot.
It's
we
ridiculous.
Talked about that before, and
absolutely ridiculous.
Ray didn't like 8. I thought 8 was good. I thought 8 was a good number. Ray hated 8. He wanted 6. No, I'm not gonna say you hated 8, but you rather have 6.
I want it to be the cream of the crop. Right. I don't want it to be a middling SEC team because that's why they're doing it. Because now South Carolina would be in the top 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now a down team in the SEC team will get in there now. That's the only reason they did it to 12.
Yeah.
I hate it.
No, I agree, and maybe we can talk a span on that for next week. But that's gonna do it for us today, guys. We appreciate everybody in here. Chris,
you don't want my
Jack,
you
Remy.
You don't want my rant this week, man?
Oh, go ahead, Ray.
Okay, well, here's what my rant this week is going to really. Do you still talk to Jacob at all, or no?
I haven't talked to him in a minute. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, he's going to love my rant this week. Soccer blows. Okay, go ahead.
Ray's had a 2-second rant talk about soccer. That's hilarious.
Only in this country could we be in the World Cup and we score 2 goals in 3 games and we're excited about it. Go ahead.
I think that's the most ridiculous thing about soccer. That's why I can't get into it. Like, you can have a tie game and just be happy about it. I'm like,
ooh, what a great game.
I hate that feeling to just go into a game and tie. And then people are like, yeah, tie. I'm like, nobody won.
I had a debate with a girl today.
I hate the fact that we have ties in the NFL. Like,
I had a girl say to me, "Oh, I like soccer better than football." She thought she was Jack Benny, man. I sat there and laughed for like 15 minutes straight. I'm like, "What?"
I'm gonna end with this. They allowed us to steal their names.
Correct. Yes.
That's all. I'm not gonna elaborate off of that. They allow us to steal their name. Anyway, thank you guys for checking us out. Thank for all the viewers, Chris, Remy, Captain Jack, all the other people that was watching and didn't comment. We do appreciate everybody. If you can't make the initial live show, it's okay. Go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe right down there. Go ahead, Ray. Help me out, right there.
I never do this right. There you go. Right
there you go, right there. Hit that QR code. Like and subscribe on our YouTube. Find our YouTube channel. You can find it right there. You comment later on. We will answer any comments that are put on there. We do appreciate everybody that's in here, man. We had a fun season. Season's not over yet, but you know how we do. Even with the season over, me and Ray gets into a lot of the draft stuff. So a lot of that's about to start going down. We're going to start really talking about the Senior Bowl. We plan on going on our 5th trip. Ray's coming as well for their first ever. So that's going to be very exciting to see us with Ray down there and really get into that stuff. So we're going to have a lot of great content for you guys. Draft, Senior Bowl. So don't think just because the college football, is coming down to an end that RPO podcast is going to die. No, we go all year round, every week. Try to do every week at least. We didn't do last week. Can't say every week. But we try our best to do every week and do this thing for you guys because we love talking to you guys. We love having you. Appreciate everybody that comes in once again. So once again, my name is Jerome Jones. This is Ray Roberts. Thank you guys so much. And we see you on the last one. Ray, you look like you got something you want to say.
No, I'm good. Right. Everybody take care. Be safe out there. Looking forward to football still. Now I got to turn my attention to the Miami Dolphins a little bit more. So, what am I going to do?
Definitely. Hey, guys, we'll see y'all next week. So check us out then. Peace.